Beth, it's Brett. Can you hear me? See everyone?
Yes, I can.
Nice. Let's see.
Great. We got you
see
here
killer
for
clown back there. I got the thing poster. I like that. Oh,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
We got a lot. We got a lot going on back
a lot of
here.
spooky stuff back there behind you.
Yes. As you can tell, we are a horror-loving household. We've got a Godzilla bag over here. We've got cryptid stuffed animals. We're all
Perfect.
we got
Oh, yeah.
everything.
That's great.
Mary Beth. We got you for 20 minutes. We'll send you the footage as always. We'll keep track of time, and I'll ping you here with a 5-minute warning.
All right, cool. Oh, so I don't need to record? I don't need to
I
record.
think we can give you abilities if you'd prefer, but we are recording.
No. I am just paranoid about forgetting to record, so I'm just triple checking.
I gotcha. Yeah, we're recording on our end.
Also, I think the
Awesome.
scariest thing behind you is the cracked door. It's like unsettling for some reason.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, just you wait until it opens on its own, because one of my cats comes in and everyone thinks that this is like a Paranormal Activity unfriended thing is when they open the door. And sometimes it still scares me, even though I've been here forever, but it has to be cracked or they scream outside the door.
yes,
so.
same.
Yeah, my kids are like that too.
Yeah, kids, cats. I think they're the same, but I only have cats.
With the basement, they're like, "Oh, let us out." I'm like,
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to chat with all three of you today. Destroy All Neighbors is so much fun, so much goopy grossness, and I'm excited to chat with you about such a great way to start the year off for the horror genre.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Josh, I want to start with you first. This is your second feature film, correct? First one was in 2015, Contracted Phase 2, and now you're with Destroy All Neighbors, totally different vibes. So what attracted you to this project in particular and being a part of it?
I mean, I feel like this is like I feel like in many ways this is like my first movie. I don't know where you put the quote, but because Contracted 2 was one of those, like, I had like a week. It was like, I think I had 2 weeks before shooting. They were like, "Hey, do you want to do a movie?" And I was like, I saw the word zombie on page 3, and I was like, "Yes, I will do that." Not to play down that movie, but like, I think I'm very proud of a lot of things that we were able to accomplish. But this one, I mean, what attracted me is that like it was something that that I've been kind of herding along from the beginning. I mean, it was an idea I came up with our first writer, Charlie Piper. We were both. I was complaining to him about my neighbor, and he started complaining about his, and we started like, I was like, "Dude, what if?" I'm like, what if we just sort of started building this idea, and it became an outline, and then a script, and then onward.
It's better when these plans become a movie and not a crime, right?
Yes. Yeah. There were two options.
Yeah. It's like after the phrase, "Dude, what if?" Like, let's make a movie, or
that's where you did the right thing.
Crisscross. Like, kill your neighbor, you kill mine. Crisscross.
But yeah, I mean,
the sequel is going to be two guys talking about it, and then it becomes a movie. So I think
that's right. The sequel is Destroy All Neighborhoods.
Yeah, if only the two guys from Rope had like just made a movie, right? Instead of
Well, I mean, this is gonna sound like cheesy, but it's like there are so many like haunted house movies, but there are, but what's scary is like never being able to stop renting. You know what I mean? Like I watch Amityville and I'm like, "Oh, boo-hoo, you have a country house." Like, share it with the ghosts and the bees and stuff. Like, be cool. Like, it's way better than wherever.
That's just Josh every time. Just must be nice. Must be nice.
That's I mean, all I could think about was my favorite like terrible neighbor stories watching this, which I'm sure everyone has. So it is a very cathartic experience, I feel like, for all those people who have had terrible neighbors.
Oh, totally.
Alex, I want to ask you, because you get to wear a lot of prosthetics in this movie. And so did you know how much you were going to have to wear when you first came on the role? Like, were you aware of what it was going to take physically to play the part?
No, I actually was told this was a remake of Cries and Whispers, the Bergman.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
It wasn't until the end of week 1 that I realized I actually had to of course, yeah. I mean, this was I mean, every movie's a labor of love, but this was something that was built from scratch. And when Jonah first threw this thing at me, I've known Jonah for a little bit. It was all about, do you want to jump back in some prosthetics? You know, these guys know that I work in that field a lot and I enjoy it. So that was obviously what, you know, that and this group of people was why I wanted to do it, to make something really ambitious for a relatively low budget, but with people who know this world, care about it. And Gabe's designs are amazing, and what Bill Corso brought to it was amazing. So I knew we'd have top of the line people involved, and I'd have good people watching my back, and that's really all you need. Like, you don't want to jump into that without those two things, but I mean, I knew I had all that support. Because you really do kind of jump off of the edge of a cliff. That's kind of what's fun about acting in this type of stuff. But you have to have people around you who are going to catch you at the bottom, and I knew that going in. I think any hesitation I had about it at the beginning was just about that more than anything. Was just like, will I be able to be supported? Because like once you go, there's kind of no coming back.
Yeah, especially like in prosthetics, and that it's like when you're doing this stuff, it can feel kind of isolating and lonely in a way where you don't like. It's like I've done a couple things where I've been in full prosthetics where I can't even use my hands because I have all this stuff in my hands. And like I remember I was doing some commercial where I was in this huge Sasquatch outfit, and my brother was a PA on set, and he had to feed me Zanku chicken.
Just like, that's love. That's love.
Yeah. And then like he's like, well, I'm gonna go get food myself.
That's literally my entire career, Jonah.
Yeah, I know. It's all I ever really wanted.
Crafty, and you're just like, please, I cannot use any of my body parts. I can barely open my mouth.
It's weird. It's weird that you like that without the makeup on too, where you're just like, feed me.
Yeah. It's like like in the hospital seeing the Clockwork Orange was like,
sorry, that tickled me. Alex, how long did it take to get into the full Vlad get up though?
It's always about the same for full. Like when we did Bill and Ted, the old men in Bill and Ted 3 was really similar. I mean, things have advanced to like when I did Granny Preston and Bill and Ted 2, it took, I mean, Kevin Yeager is like, he did Bill and Ted 3 as well, but it took us like 5 hours, I think. Freaked was like 4.5, 5 hours getting in. I think this was like 3 and change, right, guys? I don't actually.
We got it down to about 3, I think, in the end.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, these are,
your body is covered.
They're the best. They're the best. They're the best in the world. You know, like the books we had on this are like, it's a Ferrari being driven into a Yugo lot. And, it's so it was just extremely well thought out, and Gabe and Bill got together and sort of mapped out how to make the foam, how to make the pieces, how to like, it was so well designed and applied, for not just for me, for all of the characters, for all the physical visual effects were just incredibly well mapped out. So it was fine. Like 3 hours is really not that big a deal for application.
And Bill had a lot of good experience on his the movie right before us, which was Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
which he never hesitated to mention. He had just come out.
It was so weird when he would just like, we'd start to give him some kind of notes or thoughts, and he would just bring one of his Academy Awards and just
slowly slide it.
What were you saying there? What were you saying? For an Oscar.
No, but you're right. I mean, we so lucked out. It's like, it's like having a garage band, and then it's like Miles Davis and Jimi Hendrix.
I will say we had that all over the place, though. I think like art department was incredible. Like we had all these people who just loved the idea of what was being done, and just we had an incredible gang of all around working. With any low budget indie type movie, which we've all done, it's hard, and so it's you have to find people who are really behind the idea of what you want to make and sort of share in that vision, the concept, and everybody did. So nobody was treating us like they were doing us a favor. I think it was all just a big giant punk band, or like Gore going on tour. It was just people making cool shit and having a shared vision, which is a really fun thing to do, and like that's what made me want to be part of it.
Yeah, and that was kind of
That's what
infectious. Yeah.
hard rock and heavy metal is all about. Like Tom Lennon doesn't say in the movie. That's what the hard rock is all about. Rock and roll is all about. Sorry,
Yeah.
Jonah, what were you gonna say? I was in meaning to
Oh
interrupt.
no, I just like, that's kind of that thing that was infectious. Like when Josh came to me with this idea, like I was like, immediately like, yes, like, Sam Raimi and Jean-Pierre Jeunet, like it's like I love that stuff. And like, and then bringing on Alex, and Alex, yes. And then like it just kind of like that became this thing where, Ryan Katner and Brett Morris doing the music, like, yes, like, getting our friends, who, don't need to come and do small parts in a movie like this, like Tom Lennon or, Kumail Nanjiani. Like, it's like, they don't need it. Like, these are just like our friends going like, yes, we want to be involved in it. Cause it was infectious or across the board. And that, like, we were so lucky to have that. And that's kind of like a little bit like what the movie, like the making of the movie was also what the movie's about, just kind of embracing your friends and the people around you and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I was gonna say this
killing
entire
everybody.
movie. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. What was that?
It's just
We
not
did kill a
killing
couple people.
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the best part about like movies like this is everyone seems like they're having the best time, and it comes through in the screen. Like it just feels like everyone is just having a fucking blast.
Yeah, this is basically the horror Ocean's 11. It really,
Hell yeah, an
having a good
incredible
time.
comparison. That's the
Yeah.
headline of this interview.
Grown
This
up.
is Horror
Yeah.
Ocean 11.
It's like Grown Ups 3, except instead of going to Hawaii, we went into a warehouse in downtown LA. during the high state of
Wow. But
Yeah.
so, Jonah, I wanted to talk more about your character because your character is like epitome of like kind of the.
He
It's
sucks.
like he sucks. He's a neurotic. He's a neurotic artist. He's a neurotic artist who like you want to love, but he's very self-centered. And as an artist myself, I'm sure we all have been there. Like we all have been there at some point. And I love how you capture that. You can kind of empathize, but you also want to punch him in the face. And I like that kind of balance that you achieve with him. So I wanted to hear more about kind of getting into that headspace and just becoming him.
Well, there's a thing that I've always kind of like doing where it's where with any kind of role where you take the things you don't like about yourself, because you'll always like you have to kind of do a little bit of shadow work, essentially. And even like, Steve Coogan always talks about with the character Alan Partridge, where he's like, I just exploit the worst aspects of my own personality. Yeah. And so it's like, I've been that like William before, where it's like, and Josh and I talked a lot about this, where there's like stuff we pulled from like just shitty things we've said to our partners in defense of like us being shitty, like it's just a place of being defensive and saying this is more important, and this inflated ego that also in turn makes you have low self-esteem. And it's just this like, Ouroboros of like, endless, like, and then like, it's no fun for anyone to be around, but you're so inside yourself that you can't even get out of it.
I mean, one of the big touch points for that, the Coen Brothers movie Inside Llewyn Davis, which at the end of it, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, how come he doesn't win? And then I was like, oh, because he's a piece of shit. Like, and that is, and that's, unless you become Johnny Cash at the end of your road, like, of destroying everyone around you and all your relationships, you're just a dick. I mean, I think for our movie, like, just to keep with the levity, like he had a happy ending, but I think he deserved,
much worse.
But much worse, yeah.
Well, that's kind of like the thing where it's like, those people, when someone doesn't learn their lesson and succeed, they like it, like, they'll never understand that they were at fault. Like, to him, it's like he still won because it's like the album came out and it was a success. It's like it doesn't matter about anything else, and that's like, it is funny. I'm going to be surprised to see how people take it, because I think some people might get kind of like, triggered by it. Like they're like they're gonna be like, it's like, this guy sucks, he's so irritating, and that might just be some projection.
Well, and that was a challenge from, like, because I know in earlier versions of the draft, like I showed it to some people and they were like, oh, this character is not very likable. And I think we did a lot to try and give him, more pathos. But
that's the trick. Like, the villain is the main character. Like, it's like, that's kind of the thing,
Well, and Alexander Payne talks about how, likability is casting is a big part of likability. I mean, you also don't have to like a character, but like, I feel like with Jonah, we had that perfect thing of like, you just like him. I just like this guy. Even when he's being a dick or whatever, like there's something about him that hopefully makes that makes you want to like see where he ends up. And
It's
maybe
also,
see.
I mean, it's also a comedy, it's
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
it's not a horror film and it isn't a drama. I mean, it really functions by the rules of comedy. And like the thing when I read the script, what I like so much about it, especially with the idea of Jonah playing this guy, because Jonah is so inherently likable, that it is just like, it's a farce. It's like just watching somebody fall down a flight of stairs for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it's like, as he catches himself on the next landing, he just goes down to the next landing.
Yeah.
And like,
you want to go through those waves of like, it's like, oh, yeah. Like, it's like a weird schadenfreude where you still kind of feel bad.
Yeah, for me, those kinds of stories are a lot of fun to watch. I mean, in a drama, it can just get irritating if a character is super, is making really bad choices over and over again. I think in a comedy that's good.
Yeah.
Well, and so I would love to hear about interacting Jonah and then also you, Alex, at the same time, like interacting with Alex's head and like what that took to just like have the disembodied head just hanging out. I'm assuming obviously there were holes and things, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear more about that process of both getting just your head around Alex and then Jonah, that amazing you getting to act with not just his head, but all these other incredible actors in various prosthetics and what that experience was like, especially towards the end, not to give spoilers, but you've got a very incredible crew with various injuries that you get to hang out with.
Yeah, it's funny where it's something I didn't think about at all, like the idea of doing it, because working at Mystery Science Theater, like it's like I'm working with like robots and puppets and like little like fake things all the time, and but like Alex did such an amazing job where it's like I didn't even like see I didn't see Alex, I didn't think about like him wearing a green shirt underneath his head or being in a box or anything like that. Like it's like he brought so much life and fun to Vlad that it didn't feel like I was doing anything different or working with any kind of like weird prosthetic guy. It just felt like I was with another actor, and it was super fun. Except for like there were certain times, of course, like interacting with the leg, trying to make the leg look like it's kicking. That stuff could be a little tricky. Or talking to a charred skeleton puppet in a morgue. It's like and I'm just trying to be like because to me that scene is funny because of how emotional it is, but it's because but it looks silly. It's like Josh and I would always be like the juxtaposition of like this like heavy emotional scene, but it looks so stupid.
It's very Return of the Living Dead when she talks about how they hurt inside, and you're like, I shouldn't laugh because this is really fucked up.
Exactly. Eat the brains to kill the pain. The dead.
And we all.
But yeah, so then I just wanted to hear about Alex. So were you like, was there any green screen involved with the head stuff? Was it mostly practical? Like, how did that work with?
Jonah had seen my resume, and in the skills thing at the bottom of the resume, it says I can act without my body connected to my head.
Whoa!
It's like roller skating, bad Ukrainian accent, and
horseback riding.
Disembodied head is skill of yours. I like it.
So
we had never even seen or heard of Bill and Tom. I don't know, but like
well, you only had seen the scene where my head comes off, which was the only reason I was hired for that. Look, I started in theater and I come from theater. I was trained in theater, and so all of this kind of stuff is very not novelty to me. Making weird short films and crazy stuff. But doing stuff that, where you have to cram your body into a weird space or whatever. I mean, my whole training background is physicals, dance and theater. So I love all this stuff. It kind of comes second nature. And I've known Jonah a long time, so I knew it was going to be, because we didn't have a lot of prep time, obviously. I knew it was going to be comfortable. And then the ensemble that we ended up with around us was insane in terms of the talent level. So everybody around us was very experienced, and art department was really good at building rigs that I could work with that were very well thought out. So even though it was low budget, we just had a really high level team. And that is what makes that difficult. Like, it's like, not to give you a long answer to a short question, but that's what makes acting that way easy, is
Yeah.
I'm not worrying about or thinking about all of the stuff it takes to get me in position or to sort of work, I'm just there acting. So I found it super fun, like the sequences, like the finale and like things where I'm jammed into weird spots. Those scenes I think are particularly fun to do.
2 bass drums stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's just ludicrous. And then just having fun with the
how
performance.
ridiculous that is that we did that. It's
Yeah.
party
scene where I'm
you
like,
get so granular in the movie, and then like you take a step back, you're like, what the fuck did we do?
yeah,
Right.
exactly. But that's good. That is a good thing, and then just the speed and pace of it also helps. You just sort of, you're prepared, you get in, you kind of roll with the energy of the scenes in those sequences.
And it was so hot. We were doing this in the middle of summer in a warehouse in South LA with no real good air conditioning. And there was even a certain point where it's like Josh and I were like, should we have one of the characters say, we got to fix this air conditioning? Because like we were visibly like sweating on like camera. And but like it's like, and that kind of brought in, I think it really did help. It's really the temperature was the character in the film.
It really was, yeah.
But like it made this kind of weird mania like that. Like we kind of like you feel so crazy and unhinged because of that, the heat exhaustion that I think it ended up like helping all of us.
I figured if it worked on Texas Chainsaw to be shooting in exhausting heat, why not do it in our movie?
Look, I just filmed a movie in exhausting heat. It works somehow. I don't know. Something about the heat really does just crack something in your brain, I feel like.
Unless it does, like as long as it doesn't overheat the cameras, I think you're good.
Yes, as long as no one's passing out and the cameras aren't exploding, then we're all good.
Exactly.
My last question for all of you: how do you really feel about prog rock, though?
I love it. I'm the old guy here, but I've seen King Crimson live many times going back to the late.
Hell yeah! Oh my god, I was just listening to King Crimson.
I am the prog lover. Yeah.
I have friends that love it, like my friend Dave Clock, who did some of our shirt designs as illustrator. Friend, like he did a poster for Primus, and it was when Primus was doing like a Rush album cover, and we all went, and like it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this. Like I was so excited, like in the middle of some long ass fucking yarn that these guys are pulling, and I was like, I don't know how to feel about this. Like, I'm a punk rock kid. If the song is over 90 seconds, I'm real skeptical.
Okay, fair. Awesome. Well, thank you, all three of you, so much for chatting with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been amazing. And just to nerd out super quick, Jonah, I have been a fan of you since I was in high school, so it's really cool to get to chat with you.
Oh, wow.
I listened to you a lot when I was in high school, and it's been over a decade, but it's just cool to meet you. So anyway,
thank you so much. Enjoy your burrito.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks.
Have a good one.
All right.